All right, what is up, 8th graders? Today we are doing the lesson 16 modeling linear equations, day 1 notes. So go ahead and pause the video right here so you can set up your page for notes. But once you got it all set up, go ahead and start following along. So before we start modeling these relationships, we have to kind of review graphing in slope-intercept form. So we have our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. That should be pretty familiar to you guys, but we're just going to refresh our memory on that. So m, that is going to be our slope, or in other words, our rise over run. That's how we figure out what m is. We find two pretty points, calculate the rise between them, calculate the run. And then we have our b value, which is our y-intercept. Our y-intercept, right? And the definition of that is where our line crosses the y-axis. So where the line crosses the y-axis. So when we graph, these are the two things that we are looking for. We're going to try and find our slope, and we're going to try and find our y-intercept. So let's say we have the equation y equals, I'm just going to fill it in with these colors. We have y equals 2x and then plus 3. Y equals 2x plus 3. So the numbers we're looking at 2 for our slope, and we're looking at 3 for our y-intercept. So our steps right here, how to graph. We're going to start with our b value, the y-intercept. So that means we're going to put our first dot on the y-axis at this number. Okay, so if we're starting with our b value, and we're going to put our first dot on the y-axis at this number, that means 3. Okay, so we're going to go to our y-axis. We're going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's where we're going to put our first dot. Our second step is to move with slope, move with our m value. So move with our m value. So sometimes our slope is going to be written as a fraction, but in this case, it's not. If it's not written as a fraction, we're going to put it over 1, put our number over 1 as a fraction. So let's put that in our notes. If not written as a fraction, we're going to put the whole number over 1. So, for example, we have, let's say our slope was 3. To put it as a fraction, we'll put 3 over 1. Or for our case, we have 2, so we're going to rewrite it as 2 over 1. That's going to help us figure out what the rise and the run is. Our rise is 2, and our run is 1. So first we started with the b value, our y-intercept, we put a dot. Now we're going to move with slope. And since it wasn't a fraction, we turned it into a fraction. And now we're going to run with it. So rise 2, run 1. But you see, we kind of don't have any other room on our graph to keep doing rise over run. So we'll just do the opposite. We'll go down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1, until we have enough dots on our graph to connect them with a straight line. All right, and just like that. That's how we graph equations in slope-intercept form. We start with our b value, put a dot, and then we move with slope. Okay, and then some vocabulary to go over. You're going to be hearing the words rate of change and the word initial value. So those are very similar words to slope and y-intercept. So anytime we hear the words rate of change, just know we're talking about slope. Okay? And anytime you hear the word initial value, that's our starting point. That means we're talking about the y-intercept. So that means if we had an equation like the one above, y equals 2x plus 3, 2 is going to be my rate of change, and 3 is my initial value. We just want you guys to know that those words mean the same thing and they're interchangeable. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. If you missed anything, go ahead and pause, and there are the notes.